say it like this. So in a world of turbocharged imports, there are legends, and then there are going to be architects. Few people can say that they didn't just race cars that they built, but they built the culture around them. David Buschur is one of the few. From carving out horsepower records in his Ohio shop to creating the DSM shootout, a pilgrimage and a staple for Mitsubishi fans and turbo fans worldwide. His fingerprints are everywhere. Not only behind the parts that he's built and some of the parts that it has inspired that others have built, but behind all the trophies and the time slips, there's few stories that many don't know. And that's obviously what we're trying to do here today. Building a business from scratch, selling it, and then weathering a storm to come back out of retirement, dust off his cape, and be able to say, hold my beer. So today we're going to dive into some history, some drama, and maybe even some of the next legacy chapter of Buschur Racing. David Buschur, thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks, man. Here, I just thought I was a guy that barely got through high school. That was pretty good.
No. So like I said, I mean, I think this job has given me tremendous amount of opportunity over the past couple decades. I've met a lot of celebrities. I'm not really an easy one to fanboy on. I don't really care too much. Everybody's a real person to me, and I find that to be pretty true. This one has me a little bit right there. So I've been to the shootout once. I have been up to your shop once. I didn't bring my car. I immediately regret that. I kind of feel like I would have liked to do that. But I was there, and I was able to really absorb what Wakeman, right? Wakeman, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And just how incredible it was. I mean, you're like the freaking mayor.
No, but a mayor is a good friend of mine.
Yeah. But it's like, you go up there and it just feels, because the town, for people that haven't been there, the town is relatively small. It's not a big town. I think, I don't know, not too much to do there, but Buschur Racing is the hub that everybody gravitates to, at least for, during that week. It was impressive, and it was magnetic. Like, you got up there and you just felt something that was undescribable from all the events that I had ever been to that I really wanted to go to myself. The shootout to me was one of those ones where I literally felt like I made like I checked it off the bucket list. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I want to put something in on this. So
Yeah.
This year, I guess we'll just get in this, right?
Sure.
So this year, this car behind me, I bought it from Annika Morrison.
Right.
My mom had a 93 just like this. She bought brand new after watching me race at Milan. The very next day, she went and bought this same car. Not this car, but a
Sure.
green 93 all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
I lost interest in racing about 2016. That's why I sold the business. We can get into that later. But
Yeah.
anyway, this year's shootout, got this done last minute, put a Haltech on it, went there with no expectations. I had the best year I've had in 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
It autocross fun. It went 1180. Woohoo, big deal nowadays, right?
Right.
1180s. I think you could buy a Festiva that goes that fast.
Well,
Speaking of the people that like the event, like you said, right? I had more grown men come up to me this year that it'll choke me up, almost in tears. So the one guy cried to tell me how much this event meant to him.
yeah.
I don't think I've ever been in a relaxed state of mind enough like I was this year, where I could just enjoy it. I didn't have to worry about, we're going to be the first in the 8s, we're going to be the first in the 7s. This car's
Right.
got to go 7s. I just went there, drove the car, had no expectations. But the people this year, I don't know if it's like the way the world is right now.
Yeah.
Everything's such turmoil.
Oh, yeah.
People hate this religion or this race, or it's, you get on social media, and mine is at least just full of all that crap, man, and it stresses me out. The event this year seemed like a place where everybody went. They were like-minded. They got to hang out with their friends. They got to eat ice cream and grill hot dogs and camp and race. And if you need a part, you put it on the loudspeaker, and here comes somebody with a set of cams and lifters and a head gasket and head studs. And it is really like nothing else. And I don't think I realized it maybe in 20 years until this year, how much it means to people. It was overwhelming, man.
Yeah.
Like, there was guys that had me uncomfortable, like, okay, bro, you're choked up too.
Right.
I get it.
Right.
But walk away before we both end up in tears. It was incredible, man. It's really incredible.
And here's the thing, though, and I say this not because you're on the podcast or because I'm having this great opportunity to sit down with somebody that honestly, like, I really admired, coming up until a lot of this car stuff. But you really were so monumental in building this community. And what started around, DSMs, and I think that that's interesting, but we'll get there in a second. But, now just watching how, you've pushed out, especially as you get into, the GTRs, and we went through Evos and stuff like that. Evo was obviously the next piece, right? That was the expected move. And then the GTR thing, while we've seen a lot of shops that maybe have specialized in some of the Evos and stuff like that, try to make a jump to GTR. I think GTR is a extremely intricate platform that requires actual skill to make a really fast car, and not only that, to make a car that doesn't blow up, right? So it's been incredible watching you kind of grow, kind of blossom out and kind of come back to this point. We say come back, but this was like, it's almost 10 years ago now that you had to come back. Yeah. But it's good. Even my friend Mike Talasio, he was the one that he had the black R35 that I think won the class at this year's shootout. So it's just, it's so interwoven into I think so many people now, what not only what your name, but the legacy and the people that you touch and the community that you help to spread and build. And I don't say that, I'm not saying that just to suck up. I'm not a big suck up. Although at this point it probably looks that way, but I'm not. And it's amazing. And that's why when Troy had, linked up and he said, hey, let me reach out to Buschur if you see if he would do the podcast. I said to him, I'm like, he's probably not going to want to do it. Like, I don't really know why he would. So this is awesome.
So the GTRs actually are super easy, man. And I think that's why we got in the market really late on those things.
Yeah.
But as soon as we started, I just put all the information out. Like, this is what we're going to do and try. Like, all these other shops, I could name them off if you want.
Right.
It'd be top secret. Like, this is like the hardest thing ever.
Right.
I started on them. Tim Bailey came here from Cobb, and we started tuning him. He's like, man, you're like, pick this up faster than anybody else I've ever seen. I just need to know the shortcuts. I can tune a car. But we bought that car in 14, my white one, and nobody had gone 8s on a stock frame turbo until we did it. And we ended up going 830s. And then after I gave up, other guys now have gone 7s. But honestly, if you can't make a GTR fast, you're mentally ill. They're super easy, man. I mean, it's a 3.8 liter with 2 turbos on it. How hard can it be, right?
Right. Yeah.
They're awesome cars.
Yeah, no, listen, I mean, there's definitely, I'm in the process right now of my own personal bucket list car collection, because what's happening is I finally got to a point where my kids are just old enough that, I can, I'm still spending a lot of money on them. They're freaking expensive no matter how aged that they get to. But I've gotten to a point where I have a little bit of expendable income, and now I'm kind of walking back through, going for all the cars that I really wished I would have owned. And, as I find the right ones. So like I a few months ago, I picked up a really nice 3000 GT VR4. Maybe not ideally the car that I wanted, but it's a really nice car to drive and own. And I have another project coming that I think a lot of people don't know about, but I have an Evo 6 that I just picked up. And so I've kind of started to kind of zone in on some of these things. I have a twin turbo 350Z. So like the Z was kind of a weird departure. It kind of went right from DSMs, and then I touched on a Subaru and realized that just wasn't me. Nice. That just wasn't me. I mean, I can look at it and see the allure for it, but it just didn't give me any of the feels. And so I ended up going from there. And then I'm pretty good friends with Vinny 10, and he had said, hey, I got this Z. You want to check it out? You haven't played with one of these before. So that car ended up staying. But like, the fact that these cars, they mean so much more to me than just the cars now. You know what I mean? Like it's more, it's not even just about nostalgia. It's about the fact that like this is kind of what all of my, kind of younger adulthood was about. And some of the very first parts that I ever bought for any of my DSMs were I bought a Buschur. Well, first I started out with the, your upper intercooler pipes and stuff like that, and then I ended up with a whole Buschur front mount kit. And I bought cams from you guys before. I bought a whole bunch of stuff. And I mean, you talk about going 11.8, but like I remember the first time I got my car to run. I mean, this is back 2003 or whatever. I remember getting my car to go. It was 2004. I remember going 12.2 and thinking I was the fastest man alive. I mean, and when I tell you I think at that point, when I went 12.2, I think I had just put on one of those old ass AGP 60-1s. I mean, it was way too much turbo to go that fast. And it was everything. It just meant everything. I felt like we were the fastest people that had ever lived. And we still had math translators and things that were just awful, but they worked, so watching all this technology come in, it really is kind of embarrassing when you see some people that still can't make cars go fast. Yeah.
It's pretty easy nowadays compared to then, trying to figure out everything new on a new car.
Right.
Even the GTR. I got to give credit to those guys that started in, like, when did they come out?
2008 here, 2009 here, something like that.
So by the time we got into it, a lot of the computer stuff was figured out. I can't imagine trying to figure that ECU out, before Cobb made it easy.
Right.
So by the time I got into GTRs, I felt it was easy, but I hadn't researched the car. But just for an example of, how far things came.
Yeah.
The GTR, I say they were super easy. They probably weren't easy from 2009 to 2014.
Fair.
But when I jumped in, the tuning was figured out from there. It's just a matter of building smart parts.
Right. Well, you got guys like Tim Bailey. He's just a really good guy and super knowledgeable. So, I think that obviously, him being able to continuously work on those platforms and make the software better and better, I think obviously helps. But you talked about before about how when you started tuning, he said, it's pretty crazy to watch you pick it up so quickly. I don't know. I mean, like, look, there's a software element, right? There's a computer element to know where everything is, but I find that the people that really actually know how things work and really are extremely mechanically sound, especially like guys like you know what the car is doing. So it's a matter of being able to just know what you want the car to do, right? Like to be able to put that into software and kind of get the car to understand what you're telling it. I don't know. Do you feel that it was really that far? Do you think that that's what made such a quick adaptation to the software and tuning?
I don't know. Like, I VPC, GCC stuff. We went 7s on that garbage.
Yeah.
And then I had a guy that was working for me here. I'm not going to bring his name up. He quit, left me high and dry. I didn't even know how to check my email.
Right.
Like, seriously. Like,
right.
Beyond AOL, that's about as far as I could get with computers.
Oh, nice.
And I had to start tuning AEM. So self-taught from, day one. I don't know. I think a lot of it is hearing the engine. Like I can be on the dyno. I was just here with a customer last week.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Do you hear that?" He's sitting in the car with me, and I got the windows up. He's like, "Why do you dyno with the windows up? I can hear the engine better." What are you listening for? Anything.
Right.
He's like, "Oh, I don't hear anything." I was like, "Man, I swear I heard something." A few pulls later, I was like, "You didn't hear that?"
Right.
I keep checking the car. I'm looking at the logs. Everything looks fine. About 4 pulls in, something catastrophic happened. It sounded like shut the car down and get out. It was a serpentine belt. It was slowly coming apart, and that was the noise I was hearing. And then it finally blew off and went, under the car.
That's crazy.
I don't know, like people who do remote tuning.
Yeah.
I won't.
No, I get that.
If I can't hear the engine, I don't want anything to do with it. There's so much to listening to it. I don't know.
Yeah. So this is tough. So about 10 years ago, you did a podcast with the Do It Live for a Living crew. And I watched that podcast because my goal with some of this stuff is to make sure that I don't continuously repeat the same crap over and over and over again. The internet is great. Everything lives forever, right? So people can go to that podcast and watch a lot of details of your story. But for the people that don't have the attention span to go backward, I do want to touch on a few things because I think that they're interesting. So you're a Buckeye. You're from Ohio. You were a blue collar worker when you started, right? And you're a domestic loving guy. I mean, your whole family, your dad, right? Dad was into domestics, the whole thing. I heard this right from the podcast. The part that absolutely is incredible to me is somebody that comes with such strong roots from that domestic side ends up building their whole legacy. And again, I'm not saying you're done there, but most of your legacy known for a 4-cylinder all-wheel drive import car from Japan. Does that feel?
For this,
yeah.
When it came out, I had a SS Monte Carlo.
Yep.
I was driving by the Jeep Eagle dealer, which is
Yeah.
I had no idea it was a Japanese motor.
Right.
I just saw an Eagle Talon. I never read anything about them. I was like, that's a cool looking car. I stopped and traded Monte Carlo in and left with it.
That's
and then
crazy.
later on, I'm finding out, it's a Japanese motor, but they were built in Illinois. To me, it's always, maybe it sounds stupid. It was always a domestic car to me.
That's interesting. So now
it's an Eagle.
Yeah, I get it.
Right. So, and it came out of Illinois.
Right.
So, okay. So the Mitsubishi motor in it, big deal. Right.
Right.
So I don't know that if it would have been a Mitsubishi dealer with an Eclipse sitting
would
there,
you have stopped
and bought it? I don't know that would have happened.
That's great. So, but this wasn't your first turbo car, right? You had experience with,
No.
This was the first.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So let me ask you a question. So you get this turbo car.
That was November of '89.
Yeah. So the thing for me is, and so I have to acknowledge this part. I was old enough to be in it when we were using some really crappy quote unquote technology, but it was you had already been doing it for so long by the time I got my first DSM in 2002 that there was enough internet that I could go start to look for things. How do you make your own boost controller? How do you do this? What do you take out? You get rid of the boost cylinder, do this, do that. So there was that. But for you, there wasn't that. So where was it? So you get this turbo car. What is the first thing that you F with? What is the first thing that you're like, hold on, wait a minute, what can I do here?
I did a Dynamax exhaust, which was a 2 1/4 inch. It was offered through Mopar Performance.
Okay.
And then I did I think a K&N drop-in filter.
Right.
And there was in the back of Turbo Magazine, there's a place, I can't believe I can remember this because I'm old, Horgan Engineering came out with a boost control. It was a DeVelbus paint regulator right off the spray gun.
Yep.
I ordered that, and the first trip to the track, so I worked in a steel mill at the time.
Right.
Labor. And a bunch of us drag raced together. So my dad had a Turbo Buick, a Turbo T-Type.
Okay.
One of the other guys had a Vega wagon with a 355 in it. He was the fastest.
Right.
And I told those guys, I think this thing will go 13s. And they're like, you're full of shit. There's no 4-cylinder ever going to go 13s. Well, a buddy of mine that worked there had a Monte Carlo with a 355 in it that ran 1350s or so.
Right.
And I got where I was beating them on the street. So first trip to the track with those 3 mods, the car went 1348. And we used to bet Italian sausages and a beer on everything. So next time we went to the track, I was fat eating sausage and
oh my God,
and drinking beer.
That's so just walking through a little bit, and I know we're jumping around, but again, there is information for people that want the detailed stuff. I don't want to spend a ton of time because there's so many good things I want to speak about that's more current and going forward. But so you didn't set out to start a shop. You started out by making parts for yourself, and then all of a sudden you end up in that area where, like natural, people are looking around, they're getting these cars, and they're like, well, where'd you get that? And you're like, I made it. And you start making these parts now, right? It kind of became a side hustle that almost pointed you in the direction of, hey, you're going to do this for a living.
Yeah, so the very first part I actually made when I bought that boost control, I thought the factory boost gauge worked, and they don't.
No, they don't.
I needed a place to put a boost gauge. So the
Right.
very first part I ever made, I took a sheet of aluminum, drilled a hole in it, and made it fit in the air vent to mount the gauge. And I was at Norwalk, and another guy with I think a laser came up to me, and it looked factory.
Right.
And he's like, hey, how did you get that? Did you order it? And I said, no, I made it. Can you make me one? So I went home with a die grinder, a hole saw, made him another one. And they caught on, and there was a gentleman I'm still friends with, Mike Westwood. He's out of Texas. He owned Alamo Autosports.
Yeah.
He had a magazine back then, the MDSOG. It was a newsletter.
Yep.
And he asked me to start writing for him. And he talked me into actually starting a business. And when I first opened, the name of the business, this isn't out there very often, this is probably a first, was called Priority Performance.
Right.
And it got to where it was growing pretty big. And my dad at the steel mill one day, he said, why did you name it that? Why don't you just call it Buschur Racing? I was like, I guess I didn't think about that. And that's how that started.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, I just think like it's hard because, we can look back at it now and it's so easy, I think, when you have touched enough turbo cars to know like almost like what the standard progression path that you're going to do with modifications to be able to make a car faster. But, when you start out without a rule book, it's a lot of trial and error. What were some of the things that you remember doing on your own for your own vehicle that you're trying to make this car faster that just turned out to be total nightmares?
I would say the biggest thing originally with DSMs was the fuel cut.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There was no way to program the ECU, so you were limited. 18, 20 pounds of boost, you started running this fuel cut problem.
Right.
And that's about the time that HKS was going to release a VPC.
Yeah.
So before that, they had the FCON. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I do.
It was on HKS USA daily. When's the VPC coming? When's the VPC coming? So they sent the first one to Mike Levitas at Turbo Performance Center in Maryland. I got off work on a Friday, drove to Maryland. They had to do the install because it's super complicated.
Right, of course. Right.
And we went out on the road with a digital voltmeter reading the O2 sensor.
Yeah.
That's how he tuned that, was off a DVOM. And we were looking for like 0.82 volts off the factory narrowband wide or sensor.
Yeah.
And came back. So we ran, I think that's when we got it on the 12s the first time. And Mike put us in every ad he put in Turbo Magazine after that.
It's crazy. It's crazy because I think about the fact that, like, nowadays, obviously between technology and the cost of everything coming down, like, you find cars that are barely modified with a wideband in them. And now to go back to thinking about using a narrowband sensor to try, I mean, it's true. I remember the original thing I had was the air fuel ratio gauge, which was like, good for almost. And luckily, by the time I started to play with these cars more and more, they had just come out with the first pocket logger. So we were able to, plug in and record that stuff, and we felt pretty high tech with this Palm Pilot in our hands, kind of letting everything kind of occur so we can try to figure out what to do. And then we had AFCs, right? But we're so far past that. So you go from a VPC, immediately you start obviously dialing the airflow down so you don't hit that fuel cut limit, right? And then that what does that look like in the whole scheme of things?
I mean, it was magical.
Yeah.
We didn't have fuel cut anymore. Now the car could go fast.
Right.
We ran 11.0s in that original all-wheel drive. I had the black cherry car. We built a rear-wheel drive, the first one, the 92 body style.
Right.
That car went 960s on that same VPC. I mean, then the tube car went 781 and 174 with a factory ECU, 660 injectors, 4 660 injectors. We were fueling it through the nitrous jet.
My God. 660 injectors.
Car wouldn't run.
Oh my God. It's crazy when you think about the fact that, like, an Evo 8 still comes with like 565 injectors. You know what I mean? Like, right from the thing. Yeah.
80s on 660s.
That's crazy. That's crazy. How heavy do you think that car was?
1950.
That's the power to weight ratio there is pretty enjoyable. That's
but think
crazy.
about how, man, that was in what, 2000?
Yeah. No, I know. It's crazy.
33 pounds of boost and thought that was like the max we were ever going to get, man. 33 pounds of those 780s.
So you go on. So after you make, the gauge pod, you obviously go on. What were in some of the progression? What were some of the parts that you remember kind of pioneering for these platforms, kind of in somewhat of a chronological order?
Downpipe. Now probably intercooler pipe next. Then we did downpipe, off-road pipes. Then the front mount.
Right.
And full intercooler pipe kits, and then we started doing motors.
Yeah. The
building all out of my basement until '96. And to give you an idea, I quit the steel mill, got pissed off and quit. My dad had already retired from the steel mill, and we were working in the basement of my ranch home. We did $960,000 in sales, my dad and I, out of the basement of my house the year before I built this building.
My God, you guys must have felt like on top of the world as far as that thing. What a oh my God. I heard
it was fantastic, man. The profit margins then were big. There's only 2 of us. I have no building payment, no employees. Matter of fact, I'd like to go back there now.
Oh my God. So what's funny is the original founder of Koenig, Rick, he's told me some stories about, like, right before the Fast and Furious boom kind of hit and kind of where, Koenig really started to grow, like, exponentially, and the stuff that they were doing, unloading containers, the 2 of them out in the parking lot and different things like that. And he was just saying, like, we had so much money coming out. We didn't know what to do with any of it. I mean, it's crazy because I really would have loved to experience that. Yeah. It's unbelievable. I miss the days of
you money.
Oh, man.
Buying a stacker. I don't want that one. I'll get rid of that one. Let me get another stacker. Let me get another custom truck made. I had 15 cool cars at one time.
That's nuts. Sorry. Yeah, it's crazy to think, like, how far things have come, because the truth is, like, I think we look at some of the way, you know, parts are made or kind of where we've gotten to some of the stuff. Some of the times I think it can make some of the people that have remember what it was like a little sour, right? Like it's hard to, like, you can't make anything new anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, and if you do, 20 seconds later, somebody else is already, you know, grabbing it to do it. Yeah. So it's tough. I think that's a different progression. So one of the things that I loved in the podcast when I was listening to it was the story that you actually told about when you started to accept credit cards. Because I think that my favorite part about that is, you know, you like you said, like you come from a steel mill. It's not like you knew how to run a business. You know, like it's all trial by error, right? You're taking in money because you're making things that people love. You're making good quality products. People are enjoying them, so they keep coming back to you. Now the name spreads. Now all of a sudden, this whole snowball just keeps going. But at some point, you have to actually run a business. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So my favorite. What I love about that is when you talk about some of the things where, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm writing things down in a notebook and ripping out the pages and handing them to my accountant. That's how we keep track of things. We're, you know, like all this primitive stuff. And then to hear things like how opposed you were to taking credit cards. But then tell the story about the credit card thing, because I think it's fantastic.
So I don't remember the amounts because it's been a long time since I told that story, but my old UPS driver retired and went to work for a credit card processor.
Right.
And we're sitting at our local restaurant one day. He said, "You ought to start taking credit cards." And I'm, nope, not interested. Anyway, he talked me into it. And I don't remember, but I believe the very next month, what we did in sales doubled. And I believe the month after that, it doubled. But it was huge. Yeah.
And you were like super opposed to using that credit card. You were like, no, they send me, because up until that point, if I remember correctly, it was send a check, send a money order. Yeah. When we get your money, we'll send you your parts.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So, and the timing of that obviously matches, right? I mean, credit cards were still in their earlier days of things. You know, the internet was just a blossoming bud at this point for people that were using it for a commercial sense, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
I don't know why I didn't want to take them, you know, looking back on it. Well, I think part of the processing fees and
right.
The risk.
Yeah, I'm not giving them 3%. What are they, out of their minds?
Credit card. It's amazing how many crooked people there are in the world. We just had a customer grab us for $3,000 because he didn't get his old junk parts out of his motor back. I blew it up on Facebook.
Yeah. He
got the parts, and rather than reversing the chargeback he did, he told us to get bent.
Yep.
We lost $3,000. It's hard to make that back nowadays.
Yeah.
We're probably doing less gross sales now than we were the last year I was in my basement.
No, I get it. I mean,
we've tried to branch out. We got the Toyota GRC. That's been an absolute dead end money pit car for us.
Yeah.
I think we make the best parts, but we just cannot get out there with that stuff.
Yeah.
The GTR market got killed when Jimmy bought the shop.
Yeah.
We've got shelves full of the best intercoolers you can buy for GTRs. Can't get the name out there. There's roll cages in here. Can't get those sold.
I think one of the hardest things, you know, I mean, since we kind of got into it, but like from a business standpoint, is that marketing is a double-edged sword. It's the smoke and mirrors that can sell things. It's also the smoke and mirrors that give us this awareness. But the problem is that the smoke and mirrors also give a name and kind of a perception of people that sometimes don't deserve it, right? Like, listen, I can't speak for a lot of things. I try not. I never call brands out, on top of things. I think the Koenig certainly has had its gauntlet of running, right? There was a period that, honestly, especially when I came in, I think it was like one of the more darker periods for me. Like, when I started working here, 2006, early 2006. A lot of the wheels that had been there, I think that the direction had changed. There wasn't such thing as like these real original designs and stuff like that. And then, I'd been here for a while, and in about 2014, I started getting to a point where they were letting me take my, I had enough influence now where they were saying, all right, well, you think you can design wheels? Go ahead, design wheels. And now I don't know how to design wheels. Not at all. But like, I know how to look at things and say it would be cool if this did this and this did this and this did this. And luckily we have engineers that know how to do stuff like that. And like I basically, we did 1 and 2, and then from that point on, like they were like, all right, well you can kind of oversee this. And my favorite part was I got to basically say, all right, well, we're never going to ever do anything that is kind of like that inspirational thing again. And we've been true to that. I mean, there's still a couple legacy wheels I wish I can shoot in the head, but they just keep selling, and that's a hard part about being in business. But I think for me, there's a lot of like I legitimately know our intentions, right? Like, I mean, do we want to sell wheels? Yeah, that's how we stay in business, right? Like, I don't think there's a secret there, but there's a lot, but we care. Like, we're really sponsoring grassroots people, not just because it gets us a sticker on their car, but because we know that like by being in the community, that's how we're gonna, stay relevant, and being able to support the car community is what helps drive the industry forward. And at the end of the day, I just want to build cars. Like, I really sometimes hate my job because all I want to do is, go build cars. But I also know that the reason that I shouldn't do that is because I think it would burn me out. I don't think I could do what you do. I think I think the people would burn me out. And I'm not attacking people. I just get to a point where I feel like, it's one thing when you do something as a hobby and imagine it going all, roses and rainbows. And then it's another thing when you actually make it your profession. Have you ever gotten to a point where you were just like completely burnt out and you're like, that's it, I'm done?
Yeah, when I retired, I hated the cars. I hated the people. I hated coming to this building. When in the 42 months that I was gone during retirement, I probably stopped by. This building is 1 mile from my house.
Yeah.
Like, I drive by it daily.
Yeah.
I probably came here a half dozen times in 42 months.
Yeah.
And that was maybe to ship a box.
When
I was absolutely burnt out. I want to hit on that real quick.
Yeah,
man. So I've always been, first I want to tell, I don't know if I'm going to brag on myself. My honor and integrity are like, there's nothing more important to me.
Right.
I try to raise my kids the same way, right? So I got a reputation of being an asshole.
Okay.
I can live with that. I've never been called a crook.
Right.
I've never stole anybody's money. I've never not delivered parts that somebody was owed. If you come here and you get me on the phone and you ask me a question I think stupid, I might even tell you you're dumb.
Right.
Right. I can't answer the phone anymore. But at the end of the phone call, if you listen to what I said, you're probably going to get the results you want.
Yeah.
And you're going to get what you paid for, right? I didn't work for probably the first, I don't even know, 28 years of doing this. It was, this supported everything I've ever done, man. I can't tell you how grateful I am. I barely got out of high school.
Yeah.
Like, I was dumb. Went to the Army, went to the steel mill, and started this, and it blew up, And I think some advice to give people is if there's something you really love, go do it. You can probably turn it into a business if you're honest and you're passionate. But then for something just hit me. I think if you're really passionate about something, that's what I was going to say. It's easy to argue and defend it. Like, now I don't get on the internet and argue anymore. I'm passionate about making sure that the guys that work here make a living, can take care of themselves, and that we're turning out a good product. I'm not passionate about the cars and the racing. I don't have that fire in me anymore. And I don't know, I guess it's okay. 36 years of doing this. I'll be 60 next year. I don't have that really hard passion, so I don't need to go argue. Yeah. If you want to say something stupid on the internet, say it. I'm not going to go argue with you. Just keep that dumb thought in your head. I don't care.
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of like that with the gun industry, which is kind of since I started the Freedom Shack.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I don't ruin another hobby because I'm really into shooting now. But we make the best precision shooting bags you can buy now and a bunch of other products. But it was like you saying about the wheels. You can see something and know what to do, and you get somebody to design it.
Yeah.
So Brandon, who works here, he picked up the 3D printing stuff and designing it in CAD. Yep. So I get a piece of something in my mind. I draw it on a sheet of paper. He turns it into reality. And we're selling. We ship more packages out of this building for the Freedom Shack now than we do Buschur's on a daily basis.
That's crazy, though. It's like, does I think I know the answer to this, but is there a part of you that's bothered by that, or you don't really care anymore, like from that perspective?
No, the Buschur's now is turned into, nobody builds more engines than we do. Period. I don't care what anybody in this country claims. There's nobody building more 4G63s to this day than we do. Forget about over 36 years.
Right.
I don't even know how many thousands upon thousands.
Yeah.
So our main thing is because we everybody, we build all of our exhausts out of 304 stainless. We've got exhausts out there from 1990 still running around cars.
Yeah.
So once you buy it, you're not going to replace it. So I can't expect when there's 10,000 Evos,
Right.
and we probably sold 8,500 exhausts.
Right.
We're just not shipping many exhausts anymore. And we'd ship 40 a month. Now we ship 15 a month, which is still pretty good on a car that old when they're not out there.
Yeah.
So you can only sell so many of those hard parts when they're quality. So now, we're shipping engines and cylinder heads and camshafts, and, we're doing tuning, and there's just not a lot of little stuff you can ship on a daily.
Yeah. And I think it's hard too, because a lot of these platforms, have kind of, started to shrivel up. There's only so many survivors left to some of these older cars. And I'm sure the same thing's happening when you're trying to look for cores on some of these engines, right? It's got to get into a point where you're like, somebody sends you a core and this isn't good. Go find another one. I can't. There's nothing left. Yeah.
Think of how many 4G636 bolts are in a junkyard somewhere.
Oh my God. I mean,
people just scrap them. Now I wish I had a pile of them,
Oh, I know. I think a lot of guys are feeling that with a lot of different car parts, which I actually think is what's causing such a big rise in kind of the cost of everything for some of these older cars, and not just the DSMs, like everything, because it's like people are struggling to get their hands on the last of the survivors, right? The good stuff, and I think that becomes super difficult. But with
DSM, they made 1 million of them.
Right.
There was 1 million cars made.
Right.
Some are non-turbo, front-wheel drives, blah, blah, blah. But there's still more cores out there for those than there are Evos. Like Evo 8 cylinder heads, if you've got one, it's worth whatever you want for it. Because you can't get them.
Right. I know. It's hard though. It's like, because there's just we're seeing it from us. I think there's the level of shrinkage is there, and then I also think it's just, unfortunately, and I always want to be wrong with this, but the society and the kind of the needs of some of these people, especially the younger kids coming up, has just changed. They want to have iPhones and Ubers and that importance of, for us, like, driving was not only a rite of passage, it was our version of social media. You wanted to go do something, you had to go. And
I'm shocked at how many people I've seen in the last couple of years with kids that are 18 that don't have driver's license.
Don't even have them. And no desire to get them.
I want a driver's license, man. That was my parents would go away, and I'd steal the keys to my Chevelle, which I ended up, my mom had that was my first car.
Right.
Well, they'd go somewhere. I'd grab the keys when I was 14 and 15 and just drive a mile down the road and come back and put the car in the exact same spot I would mark it.
Right.
So I couldn't. There was nothing more important than a driver's license.
I know. That's when I turned 16. The only thing they said, "What do you want for your birthday?" And the only thing I want to do is go to DMV to get my permit. That's the only thing. That's literally what I got. They're like, oh, and then on the way home, they stopped just around the block and let me navigate it back to the house. Like that was my birthday gift. But that's all I really wanted. And for me, I think cars from there on after, I was hooked. I mean, that's what it was. I mean, it was from there on after, everything I did, I just wanted to be surrounding cars, and that's really been my entire life, which is crazy. Not the same as your entire life. You probably had a little bit more surrounding, but I can't tell you how proud I am by the fact that, like, I got to stay. So far, I've made my entire career in automotive. I've got to stay here. Like, there's something, and I say this all the time to the guys, there's something about a spreadsheet that sucks, but it's also made immediately better by the fact that I know it's not about paper or pencils. It's about cars. Like, this is all somehow tied in, right?
Yeah.
I guess it gives me a level of comfort. I want to kind of go right to the point where you sold and you kind of went on hiatus. We can call it retirement, but we know what it is now. It's hiatus. I know this is a long post, but I think it's important because I think there may be people watching that don't know this. Do you mind if I read the post that you put up on May 27th, 2021 when you came back?
Go ahead. I don't remember it. Have it.
Fair. Says, today I'm going to try to explain to everyone what has taken place in the course of action I'd like to recommend for anyone involved. I was completely burnt out in 2017, beyond ready to retire, trying to find somebody with the cash in hand to buy the business, land, building, dyno, etc. It would have been difficult, so I came up with an idea to sell it over 15 years. I'd known Jimmy Bowling since him and his friend Aaron, since they were teenagers, and had done some machine shop business with Jimmy, and the machine work was quality. Jimmy and I met with an accountant. We went over the financials. He was advised it was a great deal. We had contracts drawn up. Jimmy became the new CEO and owner of Buschur Racing, Incorporated, in November of 2017. Now for some info. It cost Jimmy $0. Yes, I said $0 to step into the business. Good thing, because he had $0. He was to pay off a $40,000 credit line the day he took the shop. It was in our contract. Most of that line was used to pay off the shop GTR before I retired. That was gone over with his accountant in the contract. Day one, the contract was breached because he said he didn't understand that part and didn't have any money. I told him to make the payment in a timely manner and get it done as soon as possible, and I'd let it slide. There was not very many months. There's not many months over the next 42 months that payment was late. He stepped in and had 30 days to make the first payment to me of $4,625. The payments were to last 15 years, and at the end of that time, I would sign over the building, property, dyno, etc., all to him. Stepping back in this week, I found that he owes in excess of $60,000 to vendors for parts, and every single bill that has come here is delinquent with the gas service, garbage service, and water all being suspended. The shop had what I'd guess $100,000 in inventory when I left, a lot of outstanding unbilled orders, cars here to be built, and zero debt other than the credit line that I mentioned. No outstanding bills whatsoever. Over my nearly 30 years in business, I never had any 30-day accounts. I believed in paying for whatever I ordered when I ordered it. COD, credit card, in advance, didn't matter. We also billed customers at the time a work was completed and ready to go. The bad for me. I had to end my retirement on May 14th, 2021, as the contract was breached again, and Jimmy told me he didn't have the payment. The credit line was never paid off. All the inventory is wiped out and gone. There are about 30 engine cores and 50 crankshafts here, along with the inventory. Along with the inventory, all gone. There are 12 cars here. All were taken in with large deposits. 0 parts were on order from that money to put them back together. Now they sit taken apart. No money. No parts to reassemble. I've been contacted about no less than 16 customers who have engines that have failed and they can't get them resolved. There is a car here that was in its place in Cincinnati that was involved in the floor situation there.
Flooding.
Wait, what's that?
It was in a flood.
Oh, well, it says floor, but I know what you mean. Flood makes more sense. I wasn't really sure what the floor situation was. I spoke to 2 customers who offered Jimmy to buy their cars after failing to complete them after 1.5 years of having them. He gave them some money, still has the cars for a year and a half. This goes on and on and on. I mean, all the different things here. The reason I wanted to read so much of this is, let's get to the end. I already have things here running smoothly at the shop. The guys here seem to be eager to work, treat customers fairly and honestly, and get things back on track. I am too. As much as I thought I would hate coming back, I enjoyed being retired. I'm enjoying the project of rebuilding. We all know, just as Buschur's, which worked out as our sign in front has always just been Buschur's, as was my brother's 20 years ago. And that's interesting because that also is you touch on in that podcast that you had done, how you and your brother were there, and then he ultimately took over the service end of a lot of that. It says, we are eager to help and rebuild. Please give us a call if you need anything or for any type of vehicle. There's the end of my novel. By the way, little blue dude, I hope the clown who ran this place soon in jail, getting drilled in the butt. Very, 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 very good ending from a Buschur post. But the reason I wanted to read so much of that is because I think that there's so much that just happened there So going back, I mean, that kind of summarized the story, but you decide, all right, I'm done. I'm kind of burnt out. I'm ready to take it on. You find somebody that you believe is going to do the right thing with your business. It will be a way for you to, it's hard to sell automotive businesses, but even if it wasn't, you find somebody that's going to carry out this legacy, that's going to keep going forward, pay you off over time. You're not in a crunch for money. You've always paid your bills. You've paid everything off. You don't have debt. You're able to walk away, get some money every month or whatever it may be, and kind of watch this business continue to progress. And then it just doesn't.
Yeah, man. So what's crazy is after that was written, we have a filing cabinet here. Old black filing cabinet. I open it up, stacks of envelopes in it. I don't remember any of this crap being here. I use it for like notes for like all the dyno sheets. Like there's packets of cam testing and intake testing and all this stuff. I started opening these envelopes. Now, I sold in November of 17. February of 2018, these envelopes are bounced checks. Dude, when I tell you there was a lot of money here back then, like you said, it was booming.
Right.
I left when it was busy. The GTR stuff was full blown going. Anyway, I just got a letter from the state of Ohio the other day. They keep sending them here. And I finally got a hold of the attorney general because he sent it to my house and it pissed me off.
Right.
Only now it was $197,000 in back taxes to the state of Ohio.
It's crazy.
$200,000. Months and months ago, 2 years ago, we started figuring out all these people that got screwed out of money that paid. There's 13 cars here actually. The least down payment he had taken, I think, was $3,500.
Jesus.
The most was $23,500. So in between there for those other cars, there was not a single part ordered for any of those guys.
Where'd the money go?
All within a year. We sent them all out. All the guys are happy as far as I know. But looking back now, I'm thinking he ran off with about $420,000 in 42 months. That's a $10,000 loss per month.
Yeah.
And I came back, and within 2 weeks. So this is what I said to myself. I got a credit card for 10 grand. I had to open Buschur's LLC.
Right.
Because I took Buschur Racing Inc. back over. I was responsible for that debt. I don't mind helping the customers. It's not their fault, but I'm not going to pay the debt that wasn't mine.
Right.
So I came in with a credit card with $10,000 on it. And I came back with a credit card with $30,000 limit and $10,000 of my own money. Open the bank account back up. We're going to use this credit card to order the parts, try to get stuff going. Within 2 weeks, we were profitable again. And I'm going, what in the hell happened here? I fixed a mess that you've driven in the ground, went from making over $2 million a year to the year before I took it back, I think he grossed 700. How do you drop that far in 42 months, dude? And within 2 weeks, we're back to like, okay, everybody's paid. I tried to catch the guys up on their paycheck as much as I could, because they were on back paychecks. And in 2 weeks, I'm like, it's running fine. How in the hell did you mess this up? I don't know where the money. He drives an old piece of shit Chevy.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a house. He doesn't have a race car. What do you do with that kind of money? How do you steal that much money?
I don't know. It's crazy. I struggle with the whole idea of how do you live with yourself, because it's not even just about living with yourself. Like, can you imagine the drama it feels every single day when you have to go to work and all you're going to do is deal with people that are pissed off at you? Like, that doesn't seem like anything I'd want to do ever.
Yeah, this is a guy that's been in a DSM since he was 18. He can't show his face at the shootout.
Yeah. I mean, why? Like, I just don't. I mean, it's hard because I'll never really understand the mentality there. But man, when you come back for those first 2 weeks, I can't imagine what it must have been like. I mean, people have to be calling. They're pissed off. They don't understand the situation. I vaguely remember. I think some of my favorite posts on your Instagram or your social media were when you were on your retirement, because it got. They were pretty good. Some of the off-grid stuff was pretty interesting. But so now you come back. What does that first 2 weeks look like? I mean, I can't imagine the stress. People have to be pissed off, in epic proportions, and they don't know where to direct their anger.
You know something weird, man? Remember I was telling you about being so passionate about everything?
Yeah.
Like, if that stuff would have happened before I retired, I might have went on a shooting spree. I don't know.
Right.
But coming back, it was calm. I had a guy here, Miguel. We're really good friends still. He was like the manager up front. Jimmy had hired him. I didn't know him. So when I came back, I'm like, who are you? Brandon, same way. Mike was still here. He's our roller fabricator, engine builder now. But it wasn't that stressful. I just told the guys, get on the phone, find the oldest customer we have, call them, tell them what happened, tell them to try to make a charge back, get their money back. When they get their money back, call us back. We'll take the money that we need to get started, and we'll finish the car. The problem was, man, most of those guys, the cars had been here beyond 6 months.
They couldn't get charged back.
They couldn't get charged back. And every one of those guys trusted us enough, right? I guess because of my name. And, like I said, I might be an asshole. Right. But I'm honest.
Right.
And they trusted me that if they sent me the money again, it would get the car done, and we finished them all.
That's crazy, though. I mean, it really. I think it's incredible, and maybe it's just the fact that, like you said, like it's your name. When they knew that you had stepped back in, because the sale was public enough. Like if you were on the forums or boards, whether it be a DSM tuners or whatever it was, like you knew when you were stepping away. You announced it. You flat out said, I'm retiring. This is going here, and this is what's going to happen. So I think people knew it, but I think that there's unfortunately a lot of people are naive. So then you coming back, I think it was the name, right? They're like, all right, Dave's back. He's gonna take care of it. He's gonna do right. But man, that's just a lot of carnage there to have to step back into.
There was a lot of people who thought I should pay everybody back, and I didn't have anything to do with it. That'd be like walking down the street and somebody stealing your purse and expecting the next guy up behind you that manufactured the purse to pay you because it got stolen. It's
right. Right. What ultimately? So you had, but. All right, I know some of this is going to seem like almost self-explanatory, but I'm sure there's people that are thinking it. So you're retired, you're out of this thing. Why even come back? Like, is it the legacy? Is it the fact that I wanted to get it right? I still have there's still technically a lot of money in this business. I should, get straight. What is the motivation for saying, all right, well, I got to go back?
You're not going to believe this.
Okay.
When I retired, I want you to guess how much money I had total in the bank. Every account I own, how much money do you think I had?
Geez, I don't know. Couple $100,000?
$1,200.
No. No.
Everything I've ever owned, I hate debt. The shop's been paid for. I paid cash for the shop as I built it. I paid for the excavating, then I paid for the poles, then I paid for the siding, then we did the inside, then I paid somebody to wire it. My houses, I hate debt. So the only thing smart I've ever done with money is make sure that anything I own is paid for. Like right now I owe on that Toyota. I finance it because it's a shop.
Right.
I don't owe anything. My off-grid place down south on 80 acres, didn't owe on it. So when I retired, I had $1,200. That's it. How much I had no 401k, no retirement. I spent every freaking cent I've ever had on race cars and Evos and buildings and custom pickup trucks and street rods and guns and you name it.
Right.
So I've always paid myself $4,625 a month. That's all I've ever paid myself. But everything else I want is car shit. So right. I got $4,600 to manage my utilities and pay for my house. Right.
Right.
So my point was, I sell it for 15 years. I keep paying myself the same amount. In 15 years, I'll be old enough to get Social Security. Hopefully by then I was smart enough to put a little money away out of this, which I wasn't. And when I live my old years not doing anything and just kind of laying around the beach in a Speedo, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I came back I was broke. I had no choice but to come back because what else am I going to do? Go get a job I couldn't be a greeter at Walmart. I was too big an asshole.
That's fair. Although I really think I would like to visit that Walmart if you're going to be there. I could just set up on the side and watch all day.
You ever heard that joke about the greeter? And the lady that comes in and says, are those twins? I can't remember how it goes. And obviously the kids aren't twins.
Right.
How the hell did it go? And she says, do they look like twins? He said, no, but I couldn't imagine two guys being dumb enough to your ugly ass. That would be me at Walmart.
Yeah, that went right. That would. You could see that wouldn't be good for their brand. So,
can you put this on this podcast?
I probably will. Yeah, I mean, we've never proclaimed to be a kid-friendly organization. So yeah, I think I will. I just can't. So I want to say,
I had no choice but to come back.
right. And I want to say, geez, Dave, that's terrible. You might, especially at, because at that point you were about 50, right? Yeah. A little.
5 years, 55, yeah, 54, 55.
So like, I mean, this is like one of those things where some people are starting to think about the idea of slowing down for real. And you're like, I got to start it all back up again. Because that's essentially what it is. You may come to a building, there may be cars, you may have a customer base, like, great. You still have to kind of start over again, right? But it's pretty incredible. Like, I mean, I want to say, like, oh, well, Dave, I'm sure there was a lot of stress and different things, but I kind of feel like you're one of those guys that just ignores that part of it, puts his head down, and just goes to work.
Before I retired, man, I can't imagine working for me. To all you guys that ever worked for me, I'm sorry.
Oh, Jesus.
Like I was rough to work for back then. I was spending money as fast as it would come in.
Yeah.
And then complain that there was no money.
Right.
Right. Like we didn't have financial problems, but I need another 20,000 so I can buy another race car.
Right.
How about us? And I would run around here screaming and throwing stuff. Yeah. And for whatever reason, man, now that I've come back, Brandon Dostal works here. He's like my main sales guy. He does mechanics. He does shipping. He does everything. Mike Lester's still here. He's a fantastic fabricator, engine builder. I come in the morning. I'm here 2 or 3 hours. I do all the financials, all the books. Other than that, those two guys run this shop. So my stress level is basically, other than, finances, like, look, we need to get some engines out of here this week.
Right.
Other than that, and we're actually working to where those two guys are going to own this shop. So I'm hoping next year we become employee owned.
That's great. Listen, I think that
I'm going to still be here when that happens. I won't make that mistake again.
Right.
But the reality of it is, for anybody that is watching this, you're not really dealing with me anymore, other than my name owning the place and doing finances. Mike and Brandon run this whole place. So I'm pretty stress free.
Thinking about kind of what you went through, would there be any advice that you would have for people that are selling their businesses or planning to do something where they're looking to sell off their business over an extended period of time? I mean, I think about a few things that obviously happened here from a legality side. There's the IP that you had within your name that you kind of had some conflict with. There's obviously, property, luckily, you still held the titles and deeds and all that stuff. So it's not like you didn't really have to get too involved on that end. But, I think you could all argue that damage was clearly done to the name in some capacity for a period of time and then required you to kind of set it right, which I think you've done a great job, because I don't ever hear anybody talk about this period. Like, nobody comes back and like, those guys. I've never heard anybody say it. So
yeah, it's washed now too. I don't hear it anymore either.
I haven't heard it, So I think, but like, is there any advice, like looking back at kind of what you went through, maybe what you did, would there be any things where you say to somebody, look, here's some points, don't do this stuff, do this stuff?
I think the biggest mistake was I didn't look into Jimmy at all. I just knew him as a good machinist. Yeah. I thought awful lot of engine failures, but he had done machine work. He didn't assemble anything. He would like bore blocks and then bring them back to us. We put them together.
Right.
Same thing now. Machine works done off site. We do all the assembly.
Right.
He didn't even give me a nickel. Like, I sold, I think, November 1st. No money whatsoever exchanged hands. His first payment was due December 1st, which is the same payment I've made myself for 30 plus years, right?
Right.
I think to look back on it, if you're going to sell, you at least need a chunk of money down to start the sale.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even get the first payment. I didn't even ask for $4,600.
Right.
I left and waited a month, and I think the second month it was late. Like, it should have been a sign right there, right?
Yeah. You had an attorney and everything that kind of orchestrated this whole thing. Did he say, hey, David, no offense, you're out of your mind?
No, actually, I came up with the whole idea on how to sell it, and it came from buying the dyno. So when we bought this dyno, it was like a 5-year lease, I think.
Yeah, okay.
So you buy it, but at the end of I think that's how this works.
Yeah, you lease it and it's $1 or something like that.
I think it was $1, right?
Yeah.
So that's the same way this worked. I was like, okay, cool. I'll take the payment. you're buying the name, the inventory.
Right.
You know, you get used to the building. At the end of the 15 years, if everything goes well, you're going to hand me $1, and I'm going to transfer the deed to the building, the property, the lifts, the computers, the dyno, everything.
Right. Everything.
Luckily, I was smart enough to keep that and do it that way, because as soon as he breached a contract, all I had to do is step back in.
Right. Yeah, I know. That's so. Thinking about the time that you had when you were quote unquote retired, were there any parts during that retirement period that you're like that you kind of evolved or changed? I mean, obviously you got a lot more into guns and shooting and stuff like that, but like you could argue that you kind of always loved guns. That wasn't, yeah. So what was it like being off for those 42 months? I say off, but like, what kind of things were you doing every day? What was your schedule like? I don't really peg you to be the guy that rolls over in bed, hits the snooze button, and decides that he's just going to hang out in bed all day.
Oh no, I was busy, man. I bought a sawmill. We bought 40 acres down south from here. So I started cutting my own trees down and learned how to do a bunch of like mortise and tin work, like I can't think of it, timber framing.
Okay.
I built a house down south, and we were supposed to move there because I was retired after my daughter got out of school. But about the time she got out, all this started falling apart. And about the time I got it all finished and it was comfortable, you know, I did off-grid solar all myself. I wired the whole place. I plumbed it. It was, you know, I built this. You probably saw pictures on Instagram.
Yeah.
But so I was busy nonstop. I was either milling wood up here and then dragging it 3 hours south so I could keep building this place. And I don't know, I was just busy, man. And
Jesus Christ. I mean, I feel like what a movie this would make. Because, I mean, who sells an automotive business to buy a sawmill, and then he ends up coming back in and taking his automotive business back? I mean, it's pretty crazy. It's like, I mean, you have gone everything around but in a straight line. You know what I mean? Like, your whole life story just kind of bounces around. But I think that's kind of fitting. It kind of is the, you know, I think it... Look, there's people like you, and then there's people like me. There's people like you that like put their heads down to go to work, and there's people like me that probably spend too much time researching things and don't just ever just jump in hard enough. I think, you know, I'm more risk adverse than I think you ever would be, but like I think that the risk reward thing for us is totally going to be a different thing. You're an entrepreneur, and I'm a guy that works for a company in technicality, right? They're not the same. Right? Like I could run a company, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, that I have that same entrepreneurial spark, because I don't think, you know, somebody like you is meant to work for somebody, right?
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was a good employee.
Yeah.
The guy,
okay.
So the steel mill, one of the best compliments I ever got, the superintendent come by me one day. He said, "Hey, Buschur." I was like, yeah, his name was Leo. "What's up?" He said, "I just want to tell you, if I had 2 more guys like you, I could fire every motherfucker on this side of the planet."
Yeah, that's a good compliment. That's a good
compliment. If you go to work for somebody, then you ought to put in 8 hours of work, not be on your phone, not screwing around. You need to produce something.
Man, I feel like I'm going to have to record that and play it on the loudspeaker, like a Bible, a national anthem. You know, when you come in the morning at school, you had to do the pledge. I think I'm going to take that clip. That's what's going to come in as everybody walks in the morning. Just gonna.
And I mean, somebody's paying you. When I worked at the mill, when I was in the Army, you know, when I went in the Army, that's probably the best thing I ever did, by the way. Went in as a E1 like everybody else, and within 14 months, I made it to E4. I don't know too many guys that outside of combat made E4 in 14 months, but you know, I was there to do a job. I made sure my uniform was squared away, my boots were shined. I was the best physical shape I could be in. I don't know. I mean, if you work for somebody, give them the effort. I get tired of people saying, "Well, yeah, I'm not doing shit all day today. This guy's only paying me $15 an hour." Then go work somewhere else, dude.
Right.
If you're worth more than 15, and go work for somebody else and make more money. But the guy that's paying you 15, you thought was a good deal when you started there. Give him your time and put some effort in for the guy.
Yeah.
These guys out here, man, I can't say enough about Brandon and Mike. They're in here after hours. They're in here on the weekends. Brandon's got no problem going to pick up a customer's car and dropping it off somewhere. I mean, these are the 2 guys that I probably should have worked. Well, I didn't know Brandon then. He was here when I came back.
But now these are the 2 guys that ultimately are going to start to eventually own this business too.
I want to work to be an employee owned.
I think that the idea, somebody once said to me something, and this is obviously to me relative, but they said, look, whatever you've done to this point, you've earned it. There's a reason that you are where you are and maybe others are where they are, right? And so like those two guys, the fact that they put that extra work in, they put that extra effort in, the fact that you don't have to ask them to stay extra. They know something got to be done. They're doing it. They're just working on it. They're just doing the right thing.
Listen, man, it's hard for me to get them to give me their hours that they have after so I can pay them.
Right.
I'm like, look, we only have so much time. You ever seen the movie In Time?
No.
Oh, watch it.
Sorry, I will, but I haven't seen
it. In Time, it's got Justin Timberlake in it.
Okay.
And when you get to be 25 years old.
Yeah, no, I did see that. I know what you're talking about. The one with the clock. The currency is time.
Yeah, that's your whole life.
Yeah.
You think you're working for money, but you're not. You're trading your time, right? To pay your rent, to buy your groceries, to buy the car. It's funny because this laptop that I'm doing this on is sitting on Brandon's DSM that runs 9s. I'm kicking it.
Honestly, that's really actually very fitting. And Brandon, thank you for letting us use your car. We needed the tripod very bad.
You need paid for your time. Like I appreciate you stayed after work and you came in on a weekend, but give me some hours to get paid because you can't just trade time for nothing.
Right.
Even if you loved it, I came in and got the guy's card and he's happy. Cool. Now we need to bill him so you can get paid.
Right.
No, I'm not worried about it. That's not how life works, man.
Yeah. Yeah, but there is something refreshing to know that people genuinely care, because I think that the best products in the world come out of passion and from people that actually care about what they're doing. I mean, and it's hard. I wish that I could sell that. Like, I wish that I could sell that, because when I think about all the time that we scrutinize, a wheel design and what we put into every single thing and what we're really trying to do and how much time we spend behind the scenes. Everybody thinks you just draw a wheel, you put it through the thing, you make it, and it comes out. But like, it's far more arduous than that, and it really does take a tremendous amount. I mean, it takes months to come out with something you're really happy with, and usually the problem with the last few, bit of time there, you're spending, it's all in this, kind of this FEA stage. You're all in the idea you're just constantly trying to find the little tiny things. It's not changing the look of the wheel really at all. It's all the little tiny radiuses and curves and different things like that to be able to make it better. But I think that there's a lot of cookie cutter stuff out there, and then it's hard to get out of the cookie cutter. There is no wheel that we could ever make anymore that somebody wouldn't have some gall to say, well, that looks just like this wheel. Yeah. Because it's too difficult. And then the truth of the matter is, then you have perception, right? Some people can look at any 10-spoke wheel and they're always going to be the same. Doesn't matter what their difference is, right? So when it comes down to the products that you guys develop, do you feel like that some of that kind of holds true? Do you people aren't able to see the value in kind of the effort that went into developing or designing a part, and others are quick to maybe come out with something similar, or you're able, do people beat you up on price a lot by saying like, hey, like this is just like this, but they sell it for $200 cheaper?
We get some of that, like especially intercoolers.
Yeah.
We try to use only Garrett cores. Mm-hmm. Over the years, that's what's proven to be best. We also use some Bell stuff for like the GTR that's real good. But I don't think so, because typically, like the DSM stuff, we came out with the
right.
HKS had intercooler pipes, but they were these snaked around things. So if you remember, ours was a short one, right? So when we did it, it's an intercooler pipe, but it's different.
Right.
And same thing, like when the Evo came, we had the first exhaust, the first intercoolers. Like an example, this guy that used to work here, I didn't want to make the intercooler pipe for the Evo snake around the battery. So first thing we did was ditch the battery, put a small battery in it, make the intercooler pipe straight. And I remember him telling me how stupid that was, because nobody's going to buy a battery to put an intercooler pipe on. Dude, we've sold more of those battery kits and intercooler pipes, and you can't find another company in Evos that didn't copy the small battery and the straight shot for the intercooler pipe.
Right.
So we're typically, I mean, I'm sure there's something that we've done over the years that was similar to somebody first, but because we've always been Mitsubishi, I feel like anything, I don't know.
I know what you mean.
Not imitators, right? Or innovators, not imitators, was our thing back with the DSM.
I remember
with the Evos.
Yep.
So I think that most of everything that came out for that car that's still popular, we invented the style of it at least,
Yeah.
or like the routing, and everybody else fell in line behind.
You know, it's funny. It's like I actually think that you probably sold more of those intercooler pipes because you had the battery. Like I vaguely remember when that was there and being like, oh, that looks way, and it made the engine bay look so much better,
So much cleaner. Yeah, and it's 20 less pounds.
Yeah, right. Those batteries were mammoths. So, I mean, the only thing that sucked a little bit for a guy that lives up here in the Northeast is that you go to cold crank on some of those things, and you gotta have yeah.
I get it.
But that was the only drawback. But the same thing was happening. We were doing the same things with even with the DSMs, like my 2G, like we were using that lower subframe there to be able to position a battery down low and kind of clean things up and be able to keep it under the intercooler pipe so we can wrap it back around. I think
I know you can't see it, but with this DSM, we did the new intercooler for it. It's got nice curved tanks on it. It's the same we use on the Evo. When we were doing the piping, I was like, this battery's got to go, bro. So we looked, and to this day, what's it been? 36 years. Yep. Nobody's made a nice battery kit for these cars. Mm-hmm. I don't even know how that's possible. Like, to be honest, we quit developing stuff for them in probably 98, 99.
Yeah.
Just been selling the same stuff. So now we've got a drop-in small battery kit for these that have an integrated billet catch can on it.
Yep.
And we just released it at the shootout. And how can it be that nobody's come up with that in 36 years, man? It's the product still after all these years. It's just a bolt in, and it offers 2 different size batteries for the cold weather. And
right. I listen, but I think a lot of it has to do with and this is what I see. You tell me if you think I'm completely off base. I think that there's a lot of talented backyard fabricators that have made their own stuff and just gotten to a point where, they're not always going to look for, others to kind of come up with stuff. And for them, they make it, but they're never going to sell it. It's going to be on their cars. You may, that was always the appeal to me by going to something like the shootout. I mean, I remember the year I went to the shootout, when I came back from the shootout, I had a laundry list like a mile long of all these different things I saw all these guys do. And I'm like, oh my God, like how smart was that? They routed this way. They did this. They got rid of this. They're doing this. Like, and I just came back and I was like, I have so many things. Like I remember making a list of all the projects I wanted to do throughout the year. And I think that is one of those things about that event that you can't explain to people. Like if you're into those cars, the idea of walking around with people that have similar interests, similar likes, similar builds, but all have approached it from different angles really is like something that's incredible that you can't get. And that's what we used to get with magazines. We used to try to look through and see what were they doing.
I miss the magazines. And I think the magazines falling off have hurt the car industry, I think.
It's hard. I think the hard part is that the speed of everything goes so quickly that there's so much noise, right? Like you can't, it used to be, when I know for me, like when Super Street came out, or more turbo and sport compact car, but for me, but like when they used to come out on the newsstands, and I knew exactly what day they were going to hit 7-Eleven, and I was there waiting for that issue to come out. I bought that issue. I went home. I read that thing cover to cover. I would circle all the things that I thought were really cool, look at any of the different parts that were out. The problem is now, if you look at your Instagram feed, you can get all that stuff that happened in a whole year in a matter of like 12 minutes. And it's really hard to pick up. And unless something, quote unquote, gets a lot of steam or goes, quote unquote, viral, you don't really get the attention to be able to put it, which is what makes advertising now so hard, because you have to almost have your content be first and the product has to just be good in it. And I think that really can skew what people end up seeing, right? And that's why I think some things that are really deserve more legs just never get off the ground, right? Just because you can build great parts doesn't mean you can make great content, which is a weird thing to have a priority scale that's kind of shifted, right? Yeah, it's interesting. It's
have good content for everything now. I mean, the internet is the way we get out there.
How was before we kind of, and I don't want to take too much more of your time, but as far as we start to kind of go through things, the shootout now is in exactly which year? You have been doing this now because
32nd.
32nd year. So the shootout now is officially around longer than most of these people that are showing up have been alive.
I can't believe how many people called me Mr. Buschur this year. Like, I don't think it must be the beard. I don't know what's going on, but this was a weird shootout, man. Like, I mean, I heard Mr. Buschur. I kept looking around for my dad or something.
Yeah,
it was crazy. Yeah,
but I think that's a crazy sign of respect in a weird way. Right? Yeah, like people look to you. You're bigger than just Dave who makes some parts. You know what I mean? Like you are something that people really hold up on a pedestal. And I don't think it's just because of the parts you've made or the community you've established. I think a lot of it comes from the fact that you have commanded a lot of the integrity and what parts mean to having a good quality part. And you made a lot of people believe that was the way things should be. I mean, really, I believe that. Like, everybody knew when they bought a Buschur motor or whatever it was that there was an unwritten warranty that came with it. You knew that they weren't going to ever do you wrong. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting. So the shootout this year, do you have any plans for the shootout? Do you think the shootout will ultimately live on forever, whether you're doing it or not? Or do you think this is one of those things that at some point you're going to have to formally hand this thing over to somebody and say,
so hold on, I sold the shootout.
Well, right, but didn't you take it back, or no? That didn't happen. So Mike still owns it.
Mike owns it. He bought it in 2017. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm still involved, but not very much. Actually, Brandon, who works here, him and his girlfriend Erica, they did all the marketing, all the videos, all the interviews for it this year. Like, Brandon loves cars.
Yeah.
Like, he loves it like I used to.
Right.
And so, I mean, it's just natural. Buschur's always been involved. It was our race.
Right.
So him being here, I think, has helped. There's a lot of drama year before last with other people that wanted to promote the race.
Yeah.
And they got out of it this year, and it grew this year, and it was smoother this year, and there was no problems with payouts this year.
Yeah.
Everybody's always gotten paid, but this year was great, man. Like, I'm looking forward to next year.
When did you decide to put together that 1G behind you?
Annika had the car, and I saw it, and I said, "Wow, my mom had just one just like that. If you ever want to sell it, let me know." So last year at the shootout, she said, "Hey, I think I'm going to sell that car, but I won't sell it to anybody but you.
Right?
Are you going to?" And I bought it, and it sat here almost the entire year. In my mind, I bought it to bring back a better front mount, bring our exhaust back, bring back some intercooler pipes, make some stuff that we never did before, like the battery kit that we've got.
Yeah.
And it was more of, like, to be honest, a money thought, because
right.
It's like going to the Buick Nationals.
Right.
Turbo Buick every time I go there, right?
Yep.
And then 2 weeks after having it going, I should just sell this because I'm not going to drive it. And I bought this from Annika, excited, and then let's just make some parts so we can make some money, bring back some old parts. But then when I got in it and drove it, bro.
I know. I get it.
I like it again.
I know. I get it.
I had fun for the couple weeks leading up to and through the shootout with this thing that, I don't know, like, I'm into it. Now we're going to do a stroker for it, and we're going to, do a bunch of other stuff that's coming up. I'm glad that I've got the passion for the car.
Yeah.
But not to the point where, like, I want to argue over stuff again. It's really hard to describe that. I look back at the stuff I said on Evo M years ago, like, just constantly fighting every day.
Yeah.
Dude, it's toxic.
Yeah.
It's not healthy.
Right. So,
and I like that I'm chill now, man. I don't want to argue with anybody.
Yeah. Listen, I feel the same way. All I want to do is just come in here, do a really good job, sell a good product. Like, I really want people to feel like they got their money worth and then some when they get something from us,
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like, at the end of the day, my goal here is not to get rich. My goal here is to be able to, make sure these people stay employed, to make sure that, obviously I, keep things right for my family. But to be able to continue a legacy. They handed me a legacy. There was one man that founded this company, and I still speak to him. Like, I get to push that legacy forward, and that's what I want to do, and that's really the only goals that I have. And I think when it's that simple, it's also it keeps the priorities where they should be, because I think everybody, and this I think happens to you, people that don't know you or don't know the kind of the scope of things, or don't know what the size of the people that you have there are. They look at these names that have been around for a long time and they think perception-wise that these must be big companies, and it makes it really easy for them to get over on people, right? Like, the truth is, like, when somebody says, oh, like, you should give me a new wheel because, I mean, this happens a lot with the Amazon mentality. We'll hear somebody gets something and let's say the wheel is misboxed or it's the wrong, they look at it and they say, oh, I don't really, it got damaged in shipping. All right, no problem. Like, let's get it back. Like, you know what I mean? Let's bet it back. Well, no, I'm going to keep this. Oh, okay. I mean, and so maybe sometimes they'll say, oh, well, let me see if we can get you a little good discount or something like that. Oh, no, you send me the new one. I'll keep this one too. Well, where did that come from? Like, now they think like everybody's in Amazon. We're just so big. We can just absorb it. Everybody thinks you just absorb it. Like, what do they think? What do they think the margins are anymore? Like, it's not there. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's what I was telling about the chargeback. I tried to explain to this customer. I was like, listen, man, the motor you bought was only $4,600. You sent on a whipped out piece of shit, an Eagle crank in it, the rods and pistons, none of it was usable. That's why they sent us the motor. We were late getting it back to you. It should have went right out, but Brandon didn't want to take these old junk parts and put it in with this new motor. Right. So he sent the engine out, and then a few weeks later, in between the time that the guy got the engine and didn't get his old junk back, he filed this chargeback for $3,000. Listen, man, $3,000 to us today is a lot of money. Yep. I hate to be honest with you, because there was times with $3,000 I'd have thrown it out in the parking lot and run it over with the truck.
Right.
It's not like it anymore. $3,000 is a hit.
Yeah.
That's all profit.
Yeah.
And when you're only doing, trying to ship 2 engines a week and a couple cylinder heads a week, it's like you're saying, you can't just put that stuff away. That was a big hit.
Yeah. Well, and not to mention that, like, there's this other piece that they're affecting not one person, but 5 different families.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is, and that part I do take ultimately, like, with utmost seriousness, right? Like, my job here, no matter what I do, everybody can say it's not about selling wheels. My job here, first and foremost, is to make sure that everybody, most of these people have been here for a long time. And my job is to make sure that they all stay employed. And that comes by making sure that we're making money and being able to sell wheels. But the truth of the matter is that whole thing comes to make sure that they stay employed, like, period. And so I think if you have that level of responsibility, you don't take anything you do super light. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's crazy. That mentality, I think, is just totally killing some businesses. They just think that we're all like Amazon. We can just, take it in the tailpipe and no problems, customer service, put a smile on it and send it down the road. It's just not how it is. So
no, it's not.
I don't know. So let me ask you a question. You put the 1G together. You said how much it was invigorating for you being able to drive that car and kind of the feels it gave you. You've also done some other platforms. There's, you've done 2Gs. You've done, I don't know. Did you ever build the Galant VR4s for your own personal thing?
Yep, I had a white one, and my stepdad Rick had the dark one. Yeah.
Okay, and then
we did some Mustang stuff, the GTR, SRT 4s.
Yep. So then, I know you do a fair amount of cars today. Still, I've seen, the website now has new car list that's kind of refreshed with parts on it.
Yeah, it's very hard, man. Like, we tried to do the Maverick pickup truck with the super full one. We had 120s. But the demographics of those truck owners, like, we got treated like we were dumbasses that didn't know anything about cars. We released the intercooler, the exhaust, and the amount of haters that we got.
Yep.
And I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it because it's who I am. There was this other company at the time doing those, and everybody was leaning toward these guys for some reason. And I got pissed off and just sold the truck, and we got rid of the market, right? This other company who everybody was praising went under and screwed all these people. And I went back and looked at the forums, and a lot of them that got screwed were the people that were, like, on my ass for no.
Yeah.
And it was kind of satisfying, to be honest with you.
I just, some of these platforms, the word that I would like to abolish this year is the word stage. I hate the word stage. Fucking stage. Like, stage what? I'm stage 2. What does that even mean? Like, You means you bought a stage package because they thought it was.
I think that was HKS that started that way back when. But he did it.
I'm pretty sure it was. I just listen. I get it. It was a smart idea by the Japanese. I mean, look how well it did for everybody. I just can't stand it. It's like, could you imagine us trying to figure out what stage it is? I had shit all over the place. There was parts from things I didn't even know. I had Q45 throttle bodies at one point. I had, ISC motors from other things remotely located. I mean, what would I call that? What stage is that? You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. With all the different...
You know what stage that is? My checking account's empty.
Yeah. Well, I've been there more than a few times. With all the different platforms you've done, you talk about getting the 1G, but when I think about a 2G or even an Evo, these are platforms you went really fast with them. And I think about some of these cars, and are there any that Evo's not like a DSM. They're just not. They have their own vibe. And now you have the GTR. What are the platform, is there one that holds the cake for you more than other ones? Are they just different?
I don't know. The GTR was cool, man. The GTR was super easy to come out of nowhere and beat everybody else before us. Not everybody else. There was guys going 7s and 6s.
Yeah.
That wasn't my intention. I never wanted to build a GTR like that.
Yeah.
I wanted one that would go 890s, which was super easy. Then it went 830s. We made a bunch more power, got some weight out of the car. It still had factory, not factory interior, had nice seats in it.
Right.
I know the car would have gone 7s. Now a friend of mine owns it, and maybe he'll put it in the 7s. But the GTR was fun, but the Bish for me, my Evo, was probably the pinnacle of all.
We're talking about the white car, the white Evo.
Yeah. That I ruined the rear wheel drive.
No, wait, yeah. That car was awesome. That car was ridiculous. I remember that car.
Yeah, that car definitely put us ahead of everybody for the Evo stuff.
And that was right, to me, that was right in that Evo prime where everything, where, you know what I mean? I remember that's when you had, the, especially AMS that was really coming out hard with some of that stuff. And it was just, the car was really nice. It was a really good looking car. Just the ultimate stock looking from the outside, but super clean with all the details. It was just a great car.
That car still holds the pump gas record. That's been, I don't even know. That car went 972 on 93 octane. The GTR 870 on 93. I still hold the pump gas record for GTRs. That's
unbelievable.
From 16 maybe.
Man, I mean, and you guys held even on what was it? It was the first gen that you guys had. You held the mile per hour record for a long time. No,
not in the first gen. That was in the Evo 8.
Was it?
Yeah, we were the first to go 8s in the Evo, and then we had the mile per hour record of 172.7 or something.
Yeah, that's crazy. I honestly I feel like I can think of things to talk about with you all day long, but I'm gonna let you. I think you've shared some really good stories, but I also think that what do you see, to wrap things up? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Are we at the point where
nursing home?
You think you're gonna make it there? Because honestly, I think you're in better shape than I am.
It ain't easy. I live 4 days a week to try to stay in shape.
I know. I don't
know. In 5 years, I don't know.
Do you
my other business is growing pretty fast. So I've got a grandson on the way. Be my first.
Congratulations.
Yeah, he's doing about a month.
That's crazy.
And, I'm hoping he grows up to like the stuff I do, so I can hand him some type of business so he can do that maybe.
Right.
I mean, I'm getting old. I might not even see him turn 18. Who knows?
Oh, I think you'll make it. People like you, they're too stubborn to die. So you think maybe this could be one of those things where you'll become employee owned on this side. You'll focus a little bit more on the other business because it's just something else that has some passion to it.
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah. That's why it's leaning already. I come in and like I said, I do all the paperwork for Buschurs, make sure everything's cool, check on maybe what needs to go or what needs to be prioritized. But these guys handle it pretty well. and then I do the Freedom Shack stuff, which is the rifle bags and all this other stuff I come up with.
Right.
Like before I came in here, I had to run up there and get 7 orders ready to get shipped, which Brandon already took care of, I'm sure. But
that's awesome. That's really
I'd
great.
like to travel around and shoot, and then take displays and sell stuff at matches. And
yeah, listen. I think it's awesome. I mean, you still got the same fire. It's just it just keeps shifting over a little bit. But I'm glad that you were able to. It was nice seeing kind of a 1G. You put together a 1G and kind of return to your own shootout.
That's super cool. I can't wait to take this thing to car shows next year, man.
Yeah.
I can't believe how fun it is to drive. And it's weird because when I get them in on a dyno, I'm like, man, what an uncomfortable pile of crap these are. Compared to like the Evo. The Evo's got nicer seats and
yeah, I get it.
But it's weird when I got in this and I started tuning, I was like, why did I not like these for a while?
Right.
Like, I really dig this thing, man.
I get it. I love, my favorite part about some of these cars is the fact that they don't have like any electronics that I have to deal with. There's really nothing that I can't fix in these cars. And that for some reason is super exciting to me. I really enjoy that. Once you start getting into some of the other stuff, it gets like really complicated, and not complicated mechanically, just like things go wrong, especially like, oh my God, Volkswagen. Don't get me started on Euro stuff. I just don't even want to, what a Christmas tree effect. It's awful.
Yeah, this GRC is the same way, man. You can't touch, it's got a sensor for an exhaust valve that you have to get around to put an exhaust on it. It's got a sensor for the air box. It's got a sensor for crankcase pressure. So if you want to do a catch can, you're screwed. That car is a nightmare from front to rear.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just that, and stuff like that to me just like gets to a point where I'm like, is it even worth it? You know what I mean? I don't know. It's hard. Everybody's got to pick their poison, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
David, thank you so much for spending so much time with us. It's been awesome kind of getting to kind of be able to speak to you, but also to have a little participation on the project that you were putting together. That was super great. And if any of you or the team need anything, feel free to reach out to us anytime. Seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dave, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Kind words. I really appreciate it.
No, listen, I can't tell you. This is a really, it's been a cool conversation. Not too many times you get to kind of sit down with people that you really admire and have conversation just to kind of rack their brain. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, that's it. We're out.
Thanks, man.
Wholeheartedly. If you guys need